Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 14 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. Boy oh boy, am I pretty pleased with how my Thaumcraft room turned out. It's looking pretty good. I'm thinking I want to have a couple upgrades to it, but we'll get there later. How am I doing for... Alright, definitely not enough fire aspect on this thing. So let's put this guy in here. Cool. Am I wearing my robes? Yes. That's what I'm making now. 8 of these guys, and... now I've got some robes. 2% more V discount for a total of 5, 2, 2, and 1. 10% discount on all magical stuff. Awesome. I'm pretty excited for it. Alright, so this episode. Remember last episode we wrapped up by building this nifty little gadget, which I was kind of starting to tell you about, but I didn't really get into too many details. So one of the first things I want to make, because it's one of my favorite items, is... around here somewhere. There they are. Boots of the Traveler. So I'm going to need a couple air shards. A couple more enchanted fabric. Shouldn't be too hard to come across. Some feathers and some raw fish. Alright, how am I for feathers? That might be a problem for me. Let me see what the old book here says about Volito. Volito, where are you? Arrows have Volito on them. 1 each. Well, that's not too bad. I can manage that. Alright, otherwise we should be alright. Volito is going to be a tricky one. I hopefully have 25 arrows in my mob drops chest. I should by this. Oh yeah, I definitely do. Awesome. 25 arrows. I know I'm going to need that. Alright, I needed some leather shoes. Alright, what else did I need in here? I know I need a couple of air shards. I need 25 iter. Alright, iter. Where can I get iter from? I think I want to say boats are a good source of iter. Alright, nothing here really jumps out at me as being a good source of iter, so let's take a look. You have to have actually like scanned the item to find out if it's a good source of iter or not, and I'm pretty sure boats will do. Come here, you. Yes, 4 iter per boat. Cool. So I'll get myself a few more boats and I'll be in good shape. I needed 25, right? And they're 4 each. Alright, 8, 16, 24. Alright. That should probably be pretty close. That'll be 32 iter, so that'll be a little bit more than I need, but that's good. Alright, so that covers the needs here, because remember I told you with this crafting mechanic, we're going to need 25 iter from any source. I chose boats, because I get 4 per boat, and I need 25 total. And then I need volatus, which I need 25 of, and there's 1 of those per arrow. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We're also going to need a couple of air shards. Okay, now here's a recommendation. Always grab a few extra things that you're going to need from the outer area here. So I need a couple of air shards. I'm going to get a couple extra. I need a couple of feathers, so I should have some of those in my mob drop chest. Oh, you know what? I have a lot of feathers. That's okay. I'll stick with the arrows. Cool. So let's just make sure we bring a few extra. So feathers, that stuff is cool. I need some fish and some enchanted fabric. Alright, so enchanted fabric. I'm going to get enough to make 3 enchanted fabric. Where's my string? Oh good, plenty. Cool. That should do. I think we should be in good shape. So the only other thing I need to do now is go fishing, which I love to do. I really don't. But I need to. So I'll be back in a few moments once I've fished up a couple of fish. Alright, I think I've got everything I need to get prepared to do this. There's one other thing I need some of, and that is quicksilver. Quicksilver is actually pretty easy to get your hands on. Find some cinnabar ore that you've mined from underground, throw it in a furnace, and you'll get some quicksilver. Meet you guys down in the Thaumcraft room. We're going to make some fancy boots. Alright guys, so one of the first things we're going to need to do is store the Essentia that we're about to produce, okay? Remember I told you we need to melt items down using that nifty gadget over there, and we need to store it somewhere. Where are we going to store it? Well, let me show you. First off, we're going to need some glass panes. That ought to do. And if we use those to make a jar, you know what, actually I think I need some of these guys first. There we go. So I want to make 9 jars sound like a good amount. We need a little bit of water aspect to kick this off. Hey, I have plenty of water aspect in my iron wand. Cool. We get warded jars. Yoink. You know what? I think I'm going to make a few more just to be ready for the eventual fun times we're going to have. There we go. So just regular old panes. No big deal. There we go. A few more. That looks pretty good. All right. And throw in my oak wood slabs. Good. Tons of jars. Tons and tons. Oh, I ran out of all my water. Okay, no problem. This guy should have some more in it. Cool. Now we're talking. You can sit in here, and the glass jars, you're coming with me. Now the other thing we want to craft to go along with this is something to get the Essentia into the jars. For that, we're going to need to take a look at the research notes for Essentia tubes. So I've already made the Essentia distillation, which is the thing that breaks down the Essentia. All right. Next up, I made some warded jars to store things in. And now finally I'm using Essentia tubes to transport the Essentia from the furnace into the jars. For this we're going to need that quicksilver that I got earlier. A little bit of iron, glass, and gold. Okay, so let's make it happen. Yeah, that might be good. Iron, gold, quicksilver. Let's go with, I don't want to have too many of these. That should be good for now, and I can make more as needed. Okay, so that should be pretty close to what I need. Let's get set up. Alright guys, so this is pretty easy. Basically think of these Essentia tubes as any other kind of liquid transport. And the jars are going to be able to store Essentia for you. Now the only downside is you can only store one type of Essentia per jar. So if you're going to be creating multiple types of Essentia, you're going to have to go ahead and have multiple jars. So what I'm doing here is setting it up so that basically, the items are going to go into this here alchemical furnace. They'll get broken up into their component parts. So when I put arrows in here, for example, it'll break down into 26 each of the weapon one, the air one, and the feather, the volatus. So let's do it. I'm going to throw them in there and throw some charcoal in the bottom. It'll start breaking them down here, and it'll turn it into Essentia here, and then that Essentia will be filtered by the tubes. And if we take a look at the tubes, we'll be able to see them quickly getting filled up. In fact, if I break this, you'll see it even better. Because I'll have nowhere for it to go. You can see some of the air aspect and the different aspects here kind of doing their thing and filling up. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, you could manually fill these. You don't have to pump them out. If you wanted to, you could just go ahead and snag this jar and place it just underneath the spout here. So we can see this spout is leading to this block. So if I put this here, it would start filling up and it would drain straight into it. There it goes. But you know what? I mean, while that's cool, it's a little bit manual and I like to automate things. So that's why I went with the tubes here. The tubes are going to automatically distribute it. As we can see, we've already gotten a little bit of the volatus here. Cool. So I'll pick this guy up. I'll have to replace that later with something nicer. And then we'll put down the Essentia tubes. We'll put that back. And then the Essentia is ready to flow again. And we'll start seeing some Essentia trickle down here. So we've got the air, the volatus, but what we're really interested in is this stuff right here. So we have to wait until that gets broken down and transported out. So we can see it finished cooking up all the items. I'm going to go ahead and throw the boat in there. And from that, we're going to get some water Essentia, some iter, and some arbor. And then we really just need to wait for this to fill up. There it goes. Nice. Looking good. We got 26 of each. So the good thing about this is there's almost no waste within this system. We won't be wasting any Essentia. So we'll always have the exact amount that we need. Cool, right? So what I like to do typically is just make sure I have, you know, lots and lots of jars here ready to go. And you know, I usually don't like to have things in corners, so I might need a couple more tubes, or am I, wow, I have exactly enough tubes. That was awesome. Well, I'll stick with that. So that's a good starting point. We might need to expand upon this room later, add a few more jars or something, but at least for now, we're good. Cool. So we're breaking down that the boats here. We've got a lot of Essentia that we kind of have to wait for. Now, if we wanted to, we could increase the speed of this thing. If we use Elementum here, it'll break down the Essentia faster, but that's a pretty expensive material to make, so I usually don't bother. I'm just a little bit patient with it. So we've got to wait for the iter here. While we're waiting for that, let's put our items on the pedestals. So according to the Thaumonomicon, in order to make the boots of the Traveler that we're looking to get, we need to place our leather boots in the center. These are the items that are going to get imbued with all the magical energy. Those will never lose, so it's safe to have just one copy of them. Okay, then we're going to need some air shards and some enchanted fabric. These go on the pedestals out here. Okay, let's get this guy over here. So 2 air shards and 2 enchanted fabric. And remember when I said whenever possible, try and counterbalance the magics here. So have, you know, just this guy opposite this one, and this one's opposite of that one over there. So it kind of balances the magical energies and makes it a little bit less likely for it to be a problem. Then finally, we need a feather and a raw fish. Okay, so let's get ourselves the feather and the raw fish. Raw fish and feather. Now the chances of there being a problem with this is indicated by, on the book here, it says right there, negligible instability. So it's a very, very small chance that we'll have any instability, almost completely unlikely. Still possible though, anything's possible. Some of the more advanced and complicated mechanics do have a higher chance for instability, so it's something that you want to be a little bit cautious about and be aware of. Instability can cause all kinds of crazy negative effects, like damage to the player. Sometimes it'll knock the items off the pedestals, sometimes it'll destroy the items altogether, and that's when you're going to want to make sure you've got these extra items ready to go, because if that item does get destroyed, then this runic matrix gets destabilized and it needs to start drawing off more Essentia, and then just things start to go bad. So you want to trust me and make sure to have just a few extra items on hand in case they do get destroyed. Alright, so we've got the 25 Iter, we've got the 25 Volatus, we've got the items on the pedestal. How do we kick this thing off? Right click the runic matrix with a wand. Ta-da! And all the magical essence that we turned into this stuff right over here is going to go straight and get infused into those boots. Pretty cool, huh? And you can see at the top how much remains to be needed. So we just got all the Volatus we need. Now we're starting to get the Iter. It's starting to fly over there, and it's getting imbued right into the boots. Once it's gotten all the liquid Essentia that it needs stored into those boots, then it starts breaking down the items, which we can see happening now. They get destroyed and sent straight into the boots. Pretty cool, right? And provided that we have all the items on here that we need and everything else is good to go, it's going to go ahead and finish up its crafting recipe. And boom. We've got Boots of the Traveler, one of my favorite items. Let's put these bad boys on. Oh yeah, check out these things. Number one, it lets you run faster. Number two, it lets you step up 1 high blocks without jumping. And number three, it lets you jump higher. They're also enchantable with a couple nifty enchants like haste, which allow you to run even faster than than the boots already allow you to run. Pretty awesome. All right, let's get downstairs into safety before we have a problem with these creepers. I have to put up a door there, which I'll probably do in a moment. So that's infusion crafting. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, it requires a little bit of preparation, but the materials and the items you get from it are well worth the effort. Cool. There's one more thing I'm going to want to build down here. I think I want to make myself an item stand, or an armor stand. Let's do it. Armor stand. There we go. Just some stone slabs and some iron ingots. All right. I don't think I have stone slabs. All right. I'll have to go get some. Luckily, it's that much easier to run now. Trust me, with Boots of the Traveler, it makes it a lot easier to just get around to wherever you need to go. So let's get ourselves just a few stone slabs and a couple pieces of iron to get ourselves an armor stand. This thing is going to be useful for us. Let's head off down into our little thing here and show you why. So I don't always want to be running around wearing my thaumaturgist arm, legs and armor and stuff. So let's go ahead and plant this robe right here. And it's real easy. All we have to do is shift click on the portion of the stand that we want to transfer our items to. Now I've got empty slots here, and I could go ahead and create some armor for myself. Maybe I'm trying to think, is there any other armor I want to go with for now, or is iron probably good? Iron's probably good. So let's just make sure we have a good amount of iron. I think my last bit of armor broke. So there we go. Wearing iron armor with some fancy Boots of the Traveler and goggles of revealing. Now if I want to switch this back, all I have to do is shift right click and it'll swap out my armor chest piece for my thaumaturgist robes and my thaumaturgist leggings for the leggings that are there. Pretty cool, right? You can also apply a redstone signal to this block, and when you shift right click, it'll transfer your entire armor set, but we don't need to do that right now, because I'll continue wearing my goggles of revealing and Boots of the Traveler. And as a matter of fact, let's put my Boots of the Traveler on there, and there we go. Now the boots that give you a V discount are also there. Awesome. Cool, and I've got 50 each in my wand, so we're doing pretty well. Alright guys, we're back. So now that I've got these awesome boots to run around with, I'd like to spend a little time working on some more of the infrastructure for my base. One of the things I'd like to take care of, specifically right now, is getting my hands on some lava. Lava can be used for a lot of stuff in the different mods here, so it's going to be really, really important for us to have like a good amount of this stuff. So what I want to do is get that many sticks, and we're going to make ourselves the foundation for what we need to do in order to get the lava that I want to have. So first off, I'm going to make an iron gear. like so. And then I'm going to make myself an iron pickaxe. Let's see, need a few more sticks for that. That's what I love about these little crafting tables from Tinkers. So cool. And then I want to get myself a pump. So pumps aren't too hard to get. Simply make a mining well, which is crafted like so. Okay, boom, boom, 1, 2, 3. And remember that mining well recipe. It'll come in handy later. And then you take a Buildcraft tank, add it to the Buildcraft mining well, and you've got yourself a pump. So the pump does exactly what it sounds like. It's going to pump up liquids out of the ground and store them in some kind of container. What kind of container? Well, we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. What we want to do next, though, is have something to power this pump. So Buildcraft offers a lot of different engines. If we take a look at the different engines available, we'll see that there's all kinds of stuff out there. Your basic Buildcraft engines are the redstone engine, which just requires a redstone signal, but it's very weak, barely gets any energy out. Stirling engine, which is water and coal, and a combustion engine, which uses fuel or biofuel, different kinds of fuels, that kind of stuff, liquid fuels, which we'll definitely check out in the future. But then other mods add stuff, like Forestry adds a clockwork engine, which a player has to right-click, and it runs for a short period of time, so you have to wind it up like clockwork. Biogas and peat-fired engines and electrical engines, and then there's some steam engines added by Railcraft. So there's a bunch of different ways to create energy. The way we're going to do it right now, though, is to get ourselves a redstone engine. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Redstone engine right there. Ta-da! We're going to need 4 pistons. What don't I have for pistons? Redstone. See how much faster my player is moving? I love it. Can't wait to get some enchants going on this thing. That would be even cooler. 4 pistons, and then 4 redstone engines. So that's pretty much what I'm going to need. The next components for this build are going to be a couple ender pearls, because we want to get ourselves ender tanks. I showed you guys earlier how to get ender chests, but we want to get ender tanks. Now, unfortunately, I don't think I have any blaze rods, and I showed you guys a quick and easy way to get blaze dust, and I think I could get blaze rods from the blaze dust, maybe. Oh, maybe not, actually. All right, so we got to go hunting. Which is what I'm going to do right now. So what else do we need to get our ender tank? We need some cauldrons, and we need some wool, and we need some obsidian. All right, that shouldn't be too bad. I'm going to bring some of the components I need with me, so I'm going to make sure to have pretty much everything I need here. So that should be that. I'm going to need a couple pieces of wool, and let's see, so that was it, right? Ender, obsidian, that looks cool. All right. So I've got what I need. The last thing I want to bring with me is a couple of roses, if I have any. Really? No roses? Over here by chance? Nope. All right, I'm going to go find some roses outside, and then I'm going to take them with me. All right? So I'll be back in a moment once I find some of those, and then we're heading to the Nether. All right, guys, so it looks like I found a Nether fortress. If I take a look at my map, right over here is about where my entrance to this dimension is, and oh, I hate these heat scar spiders. They're so nasty. All right, let's get up to the top here. The cool thing about these boots is they make it a lot easier to get up on top of things. Cool. All right, so I see an imp here. I want to see if I find any blaze spawners. I see a blaze in the distance there. A skeleton. Oh, that blaze is across the thing. Ah! Nasty. Good thing I brought armor with me. So really looking for blazes, but if I found a blaze spawner, that would be even better, because then I could just kind of camp them and wait for them to spawn and just kill them over and over again. Oh, cool. A couple wither skeletons, huh? Oh, great. I got the withering effect. I love that one. Oh, that's death. All right. Gonna have to run back and get my stuff. I'll be right back. Alright guys, we're back, and the good news is it looks like I found a nice little blaze spawn set up. I just created a little path that leads mostly to it. Like, it doesn't lead directly to it, but it leads pretty darn close. Oh hey, there's a wisp there. Little Thumbcraft enemy. They're kind of rare, but I don't feel like engaging him right now. Mostly because he can fly, and that makes things tricky. Does sound like he's trying to zap things, though. Alright, so right across here seems to be a blaze spawner. Cool. I want to kind of encase this thing in cobblestone, but also make it easy to get to and from. I bet if I wanted to, I could like dig straight over to it. That might not be a terrible idea. Let me try and trap these things. I'm going to encase this in cobblestone and then be right back. Alright, so we've got this little pathway that leads from that path over there to right here. And I should have a nice easy way to get in, kill some blazes. Might want to trap them even a little bit better than they already are, but that's okay. For now, this isn't too bad. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then if I ever run into trouble, obviously, I can get out of here pretty quick and easy. There we go. Nice. This will do nicely. Alright, so in prepping and building this little setup I've got here, I've gone and done everything I needed to get. So, let's get to work, shall we? So what I want to make are ender tanks. Let's make some. They're pretty easy to make once you have all the ingredients. Ender tank. Boom. Got 2 of them. Perfect. Now what I want to do with these is actually color code them. So you can kind of color code them however you want. I'm going to stick with, I only brought 2 roses down here. Oh, well, I guess that's fine. Alright, so red, red, white. That'll be the color code that I choose to go with. So now these 2 are linked. So any liquid that goes into one will automatically go into the other. Cool? As long as they have the same color code, they'll have the same liquids inside. Just like ender chests. Nice. Let's go find a nice big lake of lava. Hey there, Ghast. You're going down. Oh, sneaking out of my range, huh? Alright. I'll come back once I find a good lake of lava. Come on, you. Alright guys, this lake looks like as good a one as any, and I already built a little cobblestone walkway up to it. So let's build our very first pump of lava in the Nether. So it's real easy to get going. First off, you got to put your pump down. Like so. Okay, next up we need to supply that pump with energy, so that's going to be some redstone engines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, next somewhere for the pump to put the liquid, and that's going to be the ender tank. And then finally, a couple of levers to make sure this thing runs. I like to put them in the corners so each lever powers 2 engines. There it goes. Nice. So now we just got to wait for the pump to reach the bottom there. So let's make sure this thing's a little bit safe, shall we? I'm thinking something like this. Kind of help me not fall off. Because it's easy to fall off, believe it or not, when you've got this faster run speed going on. So trust me when I say be a little bit careful. Makes it almost too easy to fall off. And the last thing you want to do is fall into lava. And because I can do 1 step up, I should probably make these 2 step up tall on either side, which I'll do in a moment. But for now, this will work. Oops. There we go. Cool. See how easily you can step up over the edge here? So you don't want to make them just 1 high because we're wearing these awesome boots. So make them 2 high, and then you won't have too much of a problem. Cool. Now we're talking. Alright. Oh look, we're already getting lava. Awesome. And you can see in my inventory this item that I'm holding. I'll even go into 3rd-person view to show it to you. Yeah, it's pretty nice, right? It's filling up in my hand. So you can see that tank will always have the same liquid that's in this tank. Awesome. Alright, I'll be back in a moment when we're back in the overworld, but there's one more thing we need to work on. One more thing we have to do to make sure this thing is always running. Alright, so the last thing we're going to need to do here is actually craft something that's going to be very important. And I'm going to go ahead and explain what chunk loaders are for those of you who may not know. So to get started with this, we're going to need to make ourselves the following. Chunk loader requires... Oh, I need 2 diamonds for this, huh? Cool. An enchanting table to get started. There we go. And let's also get ourselves a book for that enchanting table. And then to upgrade the enchanting table, we surround it with gold and throw an ender pearl on top. And we've got ourselves a chunk loader. So what do chunk loaders do? Well, if we were to take a look here at the overlay that shows loaded chunks, we'll see that there's all these chunks right around my player that are loaded. What that means is all the things are happening in these chunks. Anything outside this range, nothing's really running. So there's no enemies out there that are actually moving around. There's nothing what's called ticking, or basically running. So if there were machines there, they would basically pause and not run until I came back nearby them. Okay, now if we take a look out here in the Nether, we can see there are no chunks loaded. Oh boy. So what that means is our pump isn't currently running. We need to force our chunks to stay loaded near that pump, and if we do that, then the machines will keep running even when I'm not nearby. Now this only applies for when there's somebody logged in a single player world. The game has to be running at all. So if you shut down your single player world, your chunks will not continue running. But if you're on a server that's always online, then they will continue to run even when there's nobody else nearby. Stupid fire bats. Thaumcraft is nasty. Ooh. Well, Ars Magica Fire Elemental. Oh, and he wants to attack me? Okay, that's cool. Good luck, buddy. Alright, so let's head off. We can see on the overlay there that the chunks all around me, the player, are now currently continuing to be loaded. As we would expect. Chunks are always loaded around players. Because obviously you want things to continue to happen. You don't want the game to be frozen when a player is there, right? But, to save on memory, if the entire world had everything going on at once when there were no players near it, your computer would slow down like you wouldn't believe. So to get this to stay loaded, we need to use chunk loaders. Okay. Now a chunk is a 16 by 16 area. If you hit F9 on your keyboard, you can see a border around the current chunk that you're in. And if you move over to the next one, you'll see that chunk. So each chunk here we're going to force it to be loaded. And if we place this down by default, it's going to load in a 2-chunk radius, which overall will load 9 chunks. Now if we want to, I'll turn off these lasers and click the Show Lasers button here, and we'll kind of see an area that's being kept loaded by this chunk loader. So everything nearby here will stay loaded at all times. And you can see it on the map because it's in blue. Blue indicates that it's being force loaded, whether or not a player is nearby. Green indicates loaded by a player that's nearby. Okay? So these machines will continue to run even when I'm not in the Nether, which is very nice and very important. Now if I leave, we'll see that the blue chunks continue to stay loaded. So it's important to chunk load any machines that you're not going to be near, because if you don't chunk load them, they won't continue to run. This applies to pretty much all machines and pretty much anything. So crops will stop growing, that kind of stuff. So anything that would continue to happen when the player is nearby would stop when you leave. You can check this out in vanilla Minecraft even, because you'll notice that, oh, nasty little enemies following me around. Let's get out of here. You'll notice, like, if you go to the Nether for a long period of time, like if you log into your game, you plant a few crops, and you go to Nether and leave your computer running overnight, and then, come back from the Nether, you'll find that your crops didn't grow at all. That's because the chunks weren't loaded because you weren't nearby. Okay, so that's basic chunk loading mechanics. But now, because we've loaded those chunks, we can look on the map here and see that in dimension -1, which is the Nether, those chunks are being loaded at all times. Nice. So those chunks are force loaded, as it says at the bottom, and will continue to run. And the nice thing about the pump is it's going to clear out some lava from a further distance away, but because the pump itself is loaded, it'll kind of load up that chunk and, collect the lava, and then allow it to unload when it's ready. So now we've got some lava in our ender tank. Oh, the fun we're going to have with this stuff. So I'd like to make some engines from thermal expansion that can run off this. These are magmatic dynamos, and for this we're going to need just a couple of invar ingots. Okay, let's get set up. So pretty easy to make, really. Invar is really kind of the balancing factor here, making sure you've gotten to the invar stage before you can make a magmatic dynamo. Cool. Might even see about making silver, 2 more of these, at least 1 more. Did I make enough to make? Yeah, I did. Cool. All right, so I've got a pair of magmatic dynamos. Let's also get ourselves, I've got some opaque fluiducts, but you know what I'd really like is more obsidian. I have an idea for that. Let's get, while we're also working on it, real quick, before we wrap up the episode here, another igneous extruder. So let's get some of this, that, a piece of redstone or 2, so, and a couple tin. Still have to go mining again. You know, I need 2 more iron. There we go, igneous extruder. Yeah, that'll look good. I guess I'll make a couple more opaque fluid ducts, but they might be some of the last ones I make. What are they, copper and lead? Yeah. And down we go. All right, I'm probably going to want to move this igneous extruder setup. Don't think I have anything on me right now that can move this chest, but that's okay. Where do I want to put this? Maybe I'll put these guys over here. That might not be a terrible idea. So let's move this thing. Put him right here. We'll put the chest in the middle there, and we'll have this igneous extruder here. I'm going to set it up so that these guys, you can receive liquids from the back and from the bottom. How's that? And you can receive liquid from back and bottom. There we go. Cool. Let's get our ender tank set up here. So let's get you moved out of the way. The ender tank can go here and see how it filled up with lava for us nicely. This is probably going to make a mess, but okay, why not? Let me get my thing back here. So the first thing we'll want to do is make sure, well, that's not what I want to do. You shouldn't be connecting. Oh, you know what? I bet I know why. Come on, break now. There we go. I'll do it here just for now. We'll get our magmatic dynamos set up. There we go. So you guys should fill with lava, maybe? Oh yeah, you know what we should do? I'll show you guys how these ender tanks work. So he's not filling with lava yet because this tank is in receive mode, but if you click this little thing on the front here, it'll put the orange block on top, and then it should start transmitting lava. And they'll start generating RF from the lava. Cool. Now we're talking. They'll build up their internal buffer. I'll connect them to the hardened energy in a minute. But I do need to wrap up the episode in a moment here. But before I do that, why don't I make sure that this final setup is in place? Let's transform into something like a bat. That's really nice part of Morph is you can transform into all kinds of different stuff. And my favorite part of it is being able to get into 1x1 areas. There we go. So we'll just run our fluid ducts back here. You can go in there, and you can go in there. Cool. And then I want to get lava in there, so let's get lava into this one, I think. Gonna need a few more fluid ducts, not a problem. And yeah, we're getting close to the wrapping up point, guys, I'm sorry. But we need to. It's the way of the world. Yeah, opaque fluid ducts are not nearly as cool as the other ones, but we'll make some of those soon. Let's find our way under here. Where do I want this to connect up to? Probably here. There we go. That shouldn't be too bad. The nice thing about these both being multi-parts is they can exist in the same block space. Cool, right? All right, so that's a setup there. I'll replace these with smooth stone in a minute. Could probably do it sooner rather than later, but not in a rush. All right, so now that we've got this set up, this guy we're going to actually switch into obsidian mode. All right, so what this can do is it'll use up one block or one buckets worth of lava and water on each operation, but it'll create obsidian for us. And we'll put this guy back in smooth stone mode, and let me grab a bucket real quick. I'm sure I've got 1,000 buckets by now laying around somewhere, but that's okay. In fact, I might have one in here. Yes, I do. Nice. I'll just snag a bucket's worth of this and put that in there, and now you'll go back to creating smooth stone for me, which I'll use to patch up some of the mess I've made in here. So for now, guys, we do have to wrap up the episode, so I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back next time I love that. To work on some more cool stuff. So I'll hook up the hardened energy conduits here in just a moment. I'll also get ready for some of the upgrades and changes that I'd like to have happen coming up pretty soon. Maybe I'll even clean up this whole downstairs area. We'll see. All right, guys. For now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. And as always, take it easy.